She has promised to create millions of jobs and a bank for women to support her economic independence. Our country has enormous potentials. The natural resources are there and they can be developed, she told press in a recent interview. The young girls I meet ask for my support. They do so because they know that when a woman comes to power, she will put an end to their suffering. I'm not going to forget them. Few expect Ngom to emerge among the leading candidates for the presidency, but activists say that the fact that a woman has made it to the presidential race for the first time in years reflects how women are inching ahead in the struggle for equality. We have to be there, even if we don't stand a chance, says Sally Ba, an activist and sociologist. We don't stand a chance in these elections, but it's important that we have women candidates, women who are in the race. Ngom is the first female candidate to run for president in over a decade, reflecting how progress has been frustratingly slow in the minds of activists who say that there has been traditional views of the roles of women in society. The divided views over evolving traditional values and norms are emerging in social media. Popular accounts, often Senegalese, posting from abroad, where there is more freedom to speak out, debate taboo topics like sex before marriage and whether polygamy is fair. South Africa's ruling African National Congress is taking the independent electoral body and a rival political party fronted by former president to court, underscoring a fractious build-up to what could be the country's most pivotal elections in 30 years. The ANC says that the new Umkhonto weSizwe, Spare of the Nation party, did not meet criteria when it was registered in September. The case at the electoral court in the central city of Bloemfontein opened on Tuesday. It could see the new party, also known as MK, and led by South African ex-president and former ANC leader President Jacob Zuma, deregistered and barred from standing in the May 29th national elections. MK officials have said that they would not accept being disqualified with one threatening civil war. MK has roiled the ANC by using the name of its now disbanded military wing that was founded by Nelson Mandela. The ANC is challenging the use of the Umkhonto weSizwe name and a logo that was very similar to that of its old military wing in a separate court case dealing with copyright infringement. The decision by Zuma to pledge his support to MK added another element to the bitter rivalry. The parties have traded insults over the last few months, and ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula called Zuma the most destructive person for South Africa's democratic progression and referred to officials in the new party as his chihuahuas. Zuma was forced to step down as South Africa's leader in 2018 amidst corruption allegations and is currently on trial for graft. Although the case has faced long delays, he has been highly critical of the ANC under his successor, current South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Zuma was suspended from the ANC after publicly backing MK. He added Tuesday's hearing at the Electoral Court, as did Mbalula. The ANC has governed South Africa for 30 years since the end of apartheid system of racial segregation in 1994, but is expected to face its strongest test in this year's vote. Several polls predict that the ANC will lose its majority for the first time and be forced into a coalition to remain in government. A special investigation unit in South Africa searched the home of the Speaker of Parliament for more than 5 hours on Tuesday and seized evidence as part of a probe into the accusations that she accepted bribes in her previous role as defense minister. The search and seizure operation at the Johannesburg home of Nosiviwe Mapisa Nkakula, who is a veteran lawmaker with the ruling African National Congress Party, was confirmed in a statement from Parliament. The speaker denied any wrongdoing and reaffirms she has nothing to hide, the statement said. She cooperated with the investigators. Parliament has said the investigation of Mapisa Nkakula, 67 years of age, was made public this month by a newspaper, which she said was suspected of receiving at least $120,000 in bribes from a defense contractor between 2016 and 2019. The money was delivered to her in cash in gift bags, according to press. Spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority said that the search operation was carried out by its investigative directorate. Mapisa Nkakula was meant to be presiding over a section in Parliament on Tuesday where lawmakers put questions to President Cyril Ramaphosa. She did not appear and the Deputy Speaker oversaw the questions. The opposition Democratic Alliance Party called for her to step down because she cannot be entrusted with this high office. Mapisa Nkakula was previously accused of taking bribes when she was defense minister, but a parliamentary investigation was dropped around the time she became speaker in 2021. Mapisa Nkakula is another senior ANC figure to be accused of corruption during the leadership of former South African President Jacob Zuma, who was in charge of Africa's most advanced country from 2009 to 2018, before he was forced to step down amidst a series of graft allegations. He is on trial for corruption relating to alleged offenses before he was president. Officials in Algeria are chiding television stations over the content choices they've made since the start of Ramadan last week, injecting religion into broader discussions about how the country regulates content and advertising in media. Their criticism comes amidst broader struggles facing journalists and broadcasters, where television stations and newspapers have historically relied heavily on advertising from governments and large state-aligned enterprises in the oil-rich nation. After meeting with station directors on Sunday, Algeria Communications Minister Mohamed Lagab accused networks of not respecting ethical and professional lines, calling their programmatic choices out of keeping with social traditions of our society, especially the sacredness of the month of Ramadan. Lagab, a former journalism school professor, preemptively rebuffed accusations of censorship, arguing that his ministry's push didn't run counter to Algeria's constitutional press freedom guarantees. Television stations have the right to criticize, but not by attacking our society's moral values, he said. Though he did not explicitly name any specific stations or programs, Lagab cited soap operas as a particular concern. His ministry last week summoned a director for the country's largest private station, Echo Rock, over a soap opera called El Barani that showed characters consuming alcohol and snorting cocaine, depictions that sparked rebuke from viewers concerned that they were incompatible with Ramadan. Lagab also criticized stations for dedicating excessive airtime to advertising, so much so that it rivaled the runtime of certain shows. If we put advertising and programs side by side, we could conclude that they last longer than the soap operas broadcast, Lagab said. His remarks followed statements from Algeria's Authority of Audiovisual Regulations, which polices televisions and radio stations. Throughout March, it has called on national television stations to rein in advertising and respect families and viewers during Ramadan, a holy month observed throughout the Muslim majority country and broader region. Explosions and shootings shook the Gaza Strip's biggest hospitals and surrounding neighborhoods as Israeli forces stormed through the facility for a second day Tuesday. The military said that it had killed 50 Hamas militants in the hospital, but it could not be independently confirmed that the dead were combatants. The raid was a new blow to Shifa Medical Complex, which had only partially resumed operations after a destructive Israeli raid in November.